Thank you. Let's give it up for Andy and Robert, who gave some amazing talks. Thanks, guys. And also to the organizers of this amazing conference. Thanks for inviting us here to Macedonia. All right, so today I am talking about SEO and how to prioritize efforts. I'm going to be covering actually a lot of things. Where are you, Andy? There you are. We're talking about similar things here in terms of the concept and the way that we're thinking about strategy, so I'm glad that you already kind of warmed up the crowd for that. Okay, what button do I press? Okay, so quick intro about me. I am the founder and CEO of Flying Cat Marketing. We're an SEO and content agency, and we work primarily with B2B SaaS companies in hypergrowth. I always struggle when I'm creating a presentation about SEO for a wider audience. I know that you're all marketers, but still in a lot of different kind of fields. And as you might know, SEO gets a little crazy, technical. There's just so many different parts to it. So I tried to put together this presentation in a way that is a little more high level without getting too much into the details, but still helping you shift the way that you're thinking about SEO. If you want to get a little bit deeper into it, if you're doing SEO, me and my team do monthly strategy sessions for free. We're actually just doing 4 or 5 more, so I recommend that you scan that. I have the QR code on a bunch of slides in case you miss it, but that's where we go a lot deeper into it, and we help you build that out. So, who in this room does SEO? Or their company does it? Okay, we have very few hands. Are you dabbling at all with SEO? Okay, we got some people here. So a lot of times when I'm working with companies, I see that this is their strategy. They say, okay, we've selected a list of keywords, and this is really good because we have high search volume. These keywords that I've chosen have search volume. That's how they choose them. Or they say, my strategy is I'm going to publish 10 blog posts a month, or I'm going to build X number of backlinks per month. That's my strategy. Or they sit around a table every month and they say, guys, what are we going to write about this month? What's our topics for the blog? And that turns into random content ideation. Sure, you can ask sales, customer success, those kind of things, but that's more relevant, but still not really building a strategy around what you're going to do. And then also, if you are spending a lot of money creating this content, you start to become anxious about your choices. Are we really doing the right things? Have I looked at all of the opportunities? How do I know that this is actually going to help me reach my business goal? And they have difficulty justifying the value of SEO to their leadership team or even to themselves. So I'm going to try to help you move away from this way of doing SEO because unfortunately this is not helping you. So I want to tell a little story. Does anybody know who this guy is? No. It's Sun Tzu from The Art of War. So I'm just going to tell a little story about him. So for those who don't know, Sun Tzu was a master military strategist in the late spring and autumn period in China, which was 500 BC. He was tasked to command the Wu army, which was one of the kingdoms in China at that time. So we had the Wu kingdom here, which was a peaceful state, but nearing extinction because the Chu kingdom was taking over. So Sun Tzu was charged to help Wu fight the Chu army. And they won a victorious battle. But before I go into that battle, I want to tell you a little bit more about Chu. Chu was an aggressive and powerful kingdom. They had gone undefeated for decades and decades, just absorbing all of these different states in China. By the time of this story, they took about 60% or half of China at the time. So they were pretty aggressive. The army, Chu's army was 300,000 soldiers. Quite a big army. And so Sun Tzu was tasked to take over this army But then he looked at the numbers of his army, and they had 20 to 30,000. So it was about, the Chu army was 10 times bigger than the Wu army. So the king of the Wu kingdom said, Sun Tzu, we really need to come up with a strategy here to solve this problem, because I don't think numbers are going to do it. And by the end of this story, what happened was that all of the 300,000 soldiers were either captured or killed, and the Wu army had so few casualties that they didn't even bother to record it. So they had a pretty smart strategy here. So how did they do this? Sun Tzu was not distracted by the metrics and the output. He had one goal, and his goal was take over the Chu capital. Let us win this army and hold our location here. He could have been distracted by metrics like how many times everybody's stabbing a sword, or how many soldiers are we sending out, or how many times are we fighting people. And this is what we do in SEO. We're getting confused with the metrics and the output being the goal. We're saying, yes, I'm going to publish and increase publishing velocity and increase volume and do more and more and more. But doing that in Sun Tzu's situation, which is a similar situation to people who are competing with other companies who have gigantic budgets, this would have never won the war. So what he did do was focus on his goal. All he wanted to do was take over the Chu capital. And all we want to do with SEO is to drive business and sales goals. So he kept an eye on this, and he said, you know what, we're going to be smarter here. The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. So the way that I want you guys to think about SEO as well is, how can we do things with the least amount of effort that are going to have the highest impact? How are we going to be smart in the way that we move forward? So the battle in question when he took over the capital is right here. We see this little, just right there was a little area called Kai, which was another tiny kingdom region. And the Chu army went to start harassing them. And then Wu said, we are going to go and break the siege of Kai, or at least they wanted Chu to think that they were breaking the siege of Kai. So they said, we're going to come and help you. So they started sending a few soldiers here and there to do lightning attacks on the Chu army to start to tire them out and exhaust them. So Chu was convinced in thinking that Wu was actually going to Kai to break the siege. So they were like, you know what, we're going to send the rest of our soldiers there. So they emptied the capital. They sent their soldiers to Kai. Meanwhile, Wu wasn't actually going there. They just sent a few soldiers there, and they went into the capital, and they ended up taking over, and they won this battle. Over the next 70 years, Wu and Chu fought about 10 more wars, and Wu won the majority of them, despite having a much smaller force. It is more important to outthink your enemy than to outfight them. So again, we are not here trying to output your competitors in SEO. What we're trying to do is think smarter. We're not trying to do exactly the same thing as them. We're not just looking at content gaps and saying, oh, how can I rank for exactly the same thing everybody else is ranking for? And we also have to remember to keep our eyes on the prize and not just the metrics or the output. So, what did he do? He realized the enemy has a bigger marketing budget. He said, you know what, this is the case. I'm not going to try to outdo them. I'm going to figure out where we're strong and where they might be weak or where they might be blind. He was not distracted by shiny objects, like trying to do everything, which is something else that we also do in SEO, is how can I capture all of these opportunities when I haven't even analyzed which one is going to have the highest impact. I don't know how many of you have maybe done a an audit on like SEMrush or Ahrefs, but it'll give you a whole giant list of things to do. And some people are like, oh, we got to fix all of these. Yet it's going to take you an entire developer team to fix some of them, and the impact is going to be minimal. No, you're going to have to ignore some of those things and just choose the thing that has the highest impact. He also focused on his goal more than the metrics or the output, and I want to keep saying that. Metrics like search volume, number of blog posts, those kind of things. He knew his situation, he knew his army, he knew his strengths, and he knew his enemy. And in SEO, that's about assessing where your website stands, assessing what your powers are, and then assessing what's going on in the competitor world and how can we find our place in there. So the issue with SEO today is it's a list of tactics most of the time. Most strategies that I see is going to be number of blog posts, number of backlinks, just tactics, and there's actually no strategy. A strategy needs to start with an objective. You start with the goal. And most of the strategies I see do not have a goal, not a real goal, because most people's goal will be a number of things that they're doing. It's the output. But you start with an objective goal, which is tied to business and sales goals. Then you create the strategy, and then the tactics need to go into that, not the other way around. SEO strategies are tied to traffic and rankings. When you build an entire strategy with the goal being traffic and rankings, what you do is end up getting a lot of shitty blog posts and picking just keywords that are not a part of your buyer's journey, even if they're tangentially related to your product or industry. And the traffic doesn't convert, and the traffic isn't convincing for people, especially in B2B, where our Flying Cat Marketing serves B2B. When the buyers are busy C-levels and VPs, do you think they are going to spend any time reading a blog post written by an intern or $50 thing that I got off of Fiverr? No. But if I were only thinking about traffic and rankings, I would be okay with that because I would still hit those metrics. I would still reach those KPIs. So the kind of goals that you want to be setting are related to revenue. And this was what Andy was saying earlier. You want to think about dollar amounts, demo requests, free trial signups, just purchases made. And then traffic and rankings, those become leading indicators. If you have those dollar amounts going up, then yes, of course you want to get more traffic to it. And of course you want to rank higher, but that's not the sole metric that you want to be going after. The way that most people do SEO today is burning time, money, and resources. Why? Because it's random, it's not tied to a goal, and you're spending a lot of time and money creating all of that content, building all of those backlinks, and yet nobody knows why or how it's tied into the business. And when you're doing it randomly this way, it takes way longer to get to business impact because you're going after these high search volume keywords. It takes forever to get there. At the end of the day, when you finally get to the top of page one, if you ever do, turns out that high search volume keyword has a very vague intent, could be attracting any kind of person, and you don't really know how to actually convert using that high volume keyword. So the conversion rate is very low. So doing it that way takes a way longer amount of time. SEO should be holistic. There is not one thing alone that's going to drive SEO. I see it on LinkedIn all the time. People are like, content is the main driver of SEO. Backlinks are the greatest driver of SEO. There isn't one thing that is the greatest driver of SEO. SEO is like health. Me as a person, if I want to have a fulfilled life, I need to have my physical health. I need to go to the gym. I need to go out and see my friends. I need to eat well. I need to spend time doing spiritual things, connecting with myself. There's so many different things that I need to do in order to feel fulfilled, and the website is the same thing. There's the physical health, which is the technical architecture of the website, the social health, the off-page, how are you connected to other pages on the website? There's the spiritual health, how relevant is what you're doing, how aligned is it with your overall business goals? And then of course there's the mental health, which is how high quality and well-researched is the content that you're creating? How valuable is it mentally? Note again that I did not say drive SEO growth. SEO growth doesn't mean anything. You're not trying to drive SEO optimization, search engine optimization growth. That's thinking about it the wrong way. What you're trying to do is use SEO as a vehicle, as a channel to drive business growth and your wider sales goals. So remember that when you're doing SEO, and it's really going to shift the way that you think about it. Foundations, growth, and scale. This is the framework I wanted to talk about today. This is a proprietary framework that we've created at Flying Cat Marketing, and it's about doing the right thing in the right order. So most people skip the foundation step. When I talk to clients who want to get started with SEO, they say, listen, we need to start creating 20 blog posts a month because we really got to catch up with people. And I'm like, wait. What about what's happening on your website right now? You already have a bunch of content, or look, you don't even have CTAs on this content. There's so much that you could do with foundations that dumping more content, dumping more and more stuff on it means I'm trying to grow something that doesn't even work. And I'm going to spend a lot of resources and a lot of time growing something that isn't even ready to grow yet. So you don't want to skip the foundation step. You want to start there first. And most people are going to struggle with this idea because they really just want to go hard and go volume. But you can make such a big difference. And this is how you are prioritizing the impact, is how can I start with what I already have? So you really need to start by understanding the industry and the buyer's journey. I know that this seems obvious, we say it all the time, but people don't do it. They go onto Ahrefs and SEMrush, and they rely on that as if that's going to tell them all of the information. Well, I have news for you. Ahrefs and SEMrush don't know anything about your buyer. They don't know anything about the buyer's journey. All they know is what other websites are doing, and they have that data, and a lot of the data is not even accurate. I'm not saying don't use those tools. They're useful, but just know what they're useful for. Remember that they're just tools, and they're not going to give you the strategy. So on top of understanding the buyer's journey in general, you also have to understand the buyer's search journey. There's a lot of different touch points in a buyer's journey. They're going to talk to friends. They're going to ask colleagues. They are going to follow things on social media. They need to become aware that their problem even exists. So where does search come into that journey? And start to understand that before you start doing the keyword research. Talk to customers. Again, a super obvious one, but one that people don't do. Talk to them, find out how they're describing things. You're gonna get a lot of keywords that you will never find on Ahrefs or SEMrush. And if you're just focused on copying what your competitors are doing, you're never gonna find these keywords either. So you find the best kind of keywords talking to people. Accept that SEO is a part of this journey. It's not just a box to check. It's not just a technical thing to do. If you're looking at it that way, just don't do SEO because that's going to be a huge suck of your resources. Then you want to assess the total opportunity. And this is where you can start to look at your competitors. Some of your big competitors, you can look at Ahrefs, look at SimilarWeb, find out how much traffic are they actually getting. Again, this is going to be an estimate. Those are not totally accurate. The most accurate source is going to be Google Search Console, but you can take a look at the averages. And you say, okay, this website's getting 60,000 users a month, divided by the number of pages they have. See, okay, this is how long it took them to get there, basically on average, if we want to see what the possibility is for number of pages. Assess where your website stands. Do you have topical authority already? What is your domain authority? What is your topical authority? I said that already. How much content have you published? How far behind are you? These are things that you need to take into consideration because the goal, remember, is to get more users onto your page during their buyer's journey as quickly as possible, it's not necessarily to get that highest volume keyword faster. So you're going to have to start small. You're going to have to start with the long tail, with the low search volume, with the easy keywords, the most relevant ones, and build your way up, because the goal is speed to ROI rather than some fancy things like big traffic. You should forecast based on what you've done assessing the total opportunity, based on looking at where your website stands. What do I need to get there? What are my resources? Be realistic about your resources. Even if you bring an agency in, you still need somebody on your side to work with the agency. So be realistic and say, okay, how long is it going to take me to get there? Forecast. You set that goal. Set a numerical goal. Set a dollar amount goal per month. And you can do that with the conversion data that you have. You can work your way backwards from that. So you set that goal, and then you build the strategy based on that goal, and then you can start introducing the tactics. Before you start adding new things in the foundation step, you 100% need to work on what you already have. This is going to give you way faster wins than publishing any new content. If you already have existing content, honestly, it's gonna rank higher, convert better, all of those kind of things. You need to work on that first. Do not get distracted by new content. So work on your existing content, re-optimize it to better fit the buyer's journey. See how you can get it to rank higher if it's converting well. If it's not converting well, why not? Add a CTA maybe. I've seen so many people who are like, yeah, SEO doesn't work for us, it doesn't convert. And then I go look on their pages, it doesn't have a CTA. How are people supposed to convert? So add CTAs, try to improve conversion rate. See if you can add a CTA that's more relevant to the topic rather than a general one. Can you improve CTR? Imagine if you had 10,000 monthly visitors already and you're trying to grow that by adding new content, but what if instead of doing that, you improved conversion rate by 1%? It's a lot of new customers. What if you improved click-through rate then on top of that by 1%? A lot of new traffic. So look at these things first before you want to go into the growth phase. Yes, you can set numerical goals with SEO, by the way. Everybody says SEO is so hard to forecast, and of course it is. You can't guarantee a number, but I can set a numerical goal if I'm going to the gym and I say I want to gain 3 kilos of muscle. I'm not guaranteeing that I'm going to gain 3 kilos of muscle, but that's what I want to get to. And then this is going to be my strategy. I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. I'm going to lift heavy. I'm going to eat a lot of protein. And I can set those kind of tactics and strategy to get to that goal. Doesn't mean I'm going to get there, but I need to know where I want to go. So yes, you can set a numerical dollar amount goal with SEO. And remember to set goals for business impact, not just traffic. Traffic can be a leading indicator. If you work your way backwards, you can see how much traffic do I need to get to these certain kind of pages to hit this dollar goal, but don't only set the traffic as a goal. And remember that metrics and goals are not the same thing. Growth phase, you can move here after foundations only. Everybody wants to start here, but don't start here. Unless your website is brand new and you have no content or nothing to do already, then you gotta start here. But most people who are doing SEO are not starting here. Focus on the long tail here in the growth phase. This is where you're going to do mid-funnel content, educational content, pain point SEO, these kind of things. And remember to keep it in the buyer's journey. And create the right content at the right time. So what I mean by that is, as I mentioned before, remember who your enemy is. Well, remember who the competitor is. So, and remember where you stand. What you want to do is create content that is super relevant, but also easy to rank for, because the idea is you want to rank faster so that you can get more clicks faster, so Google starts getting data back on how things are working for you. And you start to become a topical authority in that topic. So you want to build around a topic that's easy to rank for quickly, and you start getting ROI faster because people are going to be converting faster rather than trying to go for months and months ranking for a keyword. Select one use case and build the whole funnel of topic around that. try to find a balance between the one that's most relevant to your product and the one that is easiest to go after, and you will slowly start to build toward going after higher things. At this point in growth, you might start link building, but again, make sure it's not just doing it just because it's a tactic, but that it's tied into your strategy. You're going to be in growth for a while. There's a lot of content to create there. But when you see that things are working, that conversion rates are high, that SEO becomes a predictable growth channel for your business, then it's a good time to move to scale. This is when you know, of course, you have the most qualified traffic. So this is where you're doing things like programmatic SEO. And what I mean by programmatic SEO is, you're creating templates with data variables, and you can recreate thousands of pages with one template, low effort, high impact. And you can do other growth hacks here in this stage. I won't go too much into detail about them because all of them would be depending on the kind of product that you're selling and what kind of intent there is around it. Summary. I'm wrapping up now. Mine was short and sweet. Outputs, tactics, and metrics are not a strategy. So you have to think differently about that. Remember to focus on the end goal, which is going to be dollar amounts or brand awareness, but dollar amounts is probably best if you want to continue to get resources from leadership. Fix your foundations before you grow. Don't get distracted by shiny objects, and then build your way up from small wins and then scale from there. Again, if you want to join our monthly SEO strategy sessions, they're free. We have some expert SEO guys, and sometimes I lead them. We go really deep into SEO, so you can join us there. That's it for me. Thanks for listening.